Some additional equipment you might see is about every quarter mile there will be this box, and we've got one outside if you want to see it. It sits about this tall. The base of that box is about like this, and that operates, that tells the geophones to do their business. And so it just sits there as well. It doesn't move, we don't move them. We'll check them to make sure they're still operating. That's about the activity level that a geophone in a box and the cable have out there. So you can see, we try to put everything right to the curb. If we're in a time and a resident wants to mow their yard, all they got to do is say, Steve, I need to mow my yard. I need to edge and trim. We're fantastic. We'll have it out. Yeah, let them do their business. And when they're done, we'll put everything right back. I mean, so we don't want to interrupt day-to-day, people. I mean, I'm a green thumb. I love to work in my yard. And people do that. So we're not going to interrupt that activity as well. So you can see they sit right there. Easy for us to come by, pick them up, move them, let them do their business, and bring it back if we have to. We have letters of recommendation, and you're more than welcome to these. This is the city of Richland Hills in Texas. And really what they're saying at this is that they would not hesitate to support the decision to have more seismic operations after the way we handled ourselves professionally in their town. And again, this is a letter from DFW Airport where they're saying this is in essence the same thing when we acquired the data for Chesapeake over DFW is they appreciated our professionalism and our attention to detail, so not one thing happened out there during the whole time. So especially given a federal situation like that. So what last few slides, again, this is the Woods County side of this 3D survey. So there's the footprint of Alva sitting right over here, and it's a significant footprint, and it holds a lot of information in the subsurface for us. And so what it would look like, maybe, and I just put this together as this, and what I want to show is we're not occupying every street. We're not going to occupy every alley that's out there. We're going to find the best ones working with you guys. And the blue dots are where geophones would go. So every 220 feet a geophone would be in a curve. And the red lines that are indicating where we would drive the vibra-sized buggy down to acquire our seismic data. So this is just a sample of what that might look like. Now, again, we would work with the city and the engineers and find the best places to do that. We have latitude to do that. We're not going to say it's this or nothing. But by no stretch of the imagination is that true. So we'll work with you in some of the best areas to do this. Try to get the right area and take care of that. So the last slide here is, this is data from just to the west of us. That gray area in the seismic data is a quarter mile no permit. So a quarter section that we could not occupy. And for whatever reason. And this horizon right here is the horizon we want. But what happened is, in that quarter mile, all the surrounding data around it, it's hard to say without the pointer, but see how it kind of dips down right into the gray area? Well, that's not true. It doesn't really do that. But because we're missing that data, we're losing on about 1,000 feet each side of that 1,320 accurate data, because we don't think it's true. So now the story is so incomplete because now we're worried about what it actually does there. And so Alva's a 2.5 square mile footprint. That's a pretty significant footprint to leave out of that story. So we're going to come back in. We're going to stop at the Woods County alfalfa line this spring. We're going to come back in the autumn and pick up this 3D survey on the Woods County line and move towards Alva. About 30 days to 40 days after we start commencement of that operation, the first geophone cables, they'll be ahead of the vibra-sized buggies, what would probably come into town. Once those geophones cable come into town, about another 20 days or 3 weeks, if weather permitting and everything else, we should be done. It's a very quick operation, actually. So that's kind of the proposal. I'd give you exact dates, but we don't know that. Seismic, just from week to week is hard to predict, and there's so much weather and things that fall into that. But that's kind of the idea we're looking at now. This is going to be a fall time, mid-fall, late fall, early winter activity here in Woods County in the city of Alva. So that's it. That's a really quick. That's a really quick story. What we look towards is Steve and his permit group to further explain that story to you guys as you're contemplating the permit to allow us to do this. Like I said, it's a pretty important deal. Yeah, there's a geophone, so you can shake it up and down and hear it. I mean, that's how a geophone works. It's a cutout, and that's the size of any cable that might be in the city itself. So it's not our footprint. If you drive outside of Alva towards the Woods-Alfalfa County line, we're active out there. And if you don't see an actual vehicle that says Dawson on it, you wouldn't know we're there. We were driving through the 3D coming in, and we finally went, oh, we're in it. We didn't even realize it because the footprint of seismic is actually not, we're over 30, 40, 50, 60, 120 square miles. So stretching all that out, it's hard to see. So the footprint's small. But that's roughly what the equipment would look like and the size of the equipment. So.